Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Bravado Talk.
Welcome everyone.
How are you doing, Anthony?
I'm good, man.
I'm doing wonderful myself. Thank you for asking. But anyways, today we're going to have a special treat with us today at episode 5, and
right.
It is one of Anthony's friends.
Yep.
Anthony, take it away, buddy.
Yes, so this is one of he is a friend of mine. I do consider him a friend just because you know we have actually talked before. I've seen him work out and everything. We say hi to each other. So, and the reason I wanted to bring this person along is because I think he has a very compelling story.
Okay.
To tell. And I do want our followers to kind of hear his story.
Mm-hmm.
And but again, with this guest, we're gonna keep him anonymous. So
Okay.
today he's gonna go as Ed.
Relatable. Okay.
And well, anyways, welcome to the show, Ed.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for stopping by and having time and making time for us to be in this episode.
That's right.
Yeah, no problem.
So we just want to go ahead and kind of go into COVID right now. How is it where you're at right now? How has COVID affected you and your daily life?
Honestly, in the region that I'm at, well, specifically the town I'm in, and I call it town specifically because it's small. We only have 100 cases.
Oh, wow.
That's not as bad as here in California.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
But yeah.
Has it affected your job in any way, or school, or anything like that?
Yes. Since I'm a nursing student, we kind of threw our clinical rotations at the hospital a little off. We weren't able to go in for a few months, but after we were able to go in once the situation was more under control.
Oh wow.
Damn.
Are you by any chance like afraid of like, working in like kind of like that medical field of like people with COVID coming in, or?
I think the only thing I'd be afraid of was transmitting it to my family members.
Oh,
For
okay.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, dude. All right, well, we kind of just wanted to know what your personal life is, your beginnings. If you could please, tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm a first generation Mexican American, I guess. I am the oldest of 4,
All right.
and I grew up with both parents, thankfully, for most of the time that I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
My dad he works in painting, and he also has like 2 other side businesses that have helped him.
Oh, for sure.
And my mom is a stay-at-home mom, but she does have she helps my dad with the business that he has, and she's also been going to school.
For sure, man. And where are you from originally?
So most of my life I lived in the eastern side of Fullerton, crossing the freeway from the 57 on the east side.
Mm-hmm.
And the area that I grew up with is, I guess it's referred to as the Gem District.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I guess people from the city government call it. And that's really where I spent most of my time. I've also lived in Riverside for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and I've lived in Mexico for another small portion of my life.
Oh, word. If you don't mind me asking, what part of Mexico are you from?
Cuernavaca.
Hey,
for
shout out
sure.
to all my Cuernavaca peeps out there.
Yeah, it's like an hour south of Mexico City.
Oh, yeah.
For sure, man. And I think my first memory of you was in high school. Did we go to different elementary and middle schools? Do you know?
So I got kicked out of Tuffer.
Oh,
I
for
got
sure.
kicked out of middle school.
For sure.
So I think maybe that would have been a reason why we didn't see each other that much.
Uh huh.
And then when in elementary, I did go to Tobas
Right.
I did go to that. I think the same elementary that you did for a little bit.
Uh huh.
But after I did move to Riverside.
Oh, okay. So you went to Riverside and then you came. Wait, were you?
Came back.
Then you came back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure. And then
To
that's
the
when
neighborhood.
you that's when I think what I mean, I was first introduced to you, I guess, right?
Yeah. We
Right.
actually lost our house during the housing crisis of
Oh, no
2008.
way. For that Riverside house?
Yeah.
Oh, no way, bro.
When that was like back in
2008, right?
2008.
hmm
Oh, for sure, man. Damn, that must have been tough. How did you guys handle that?
It it wasn't so bad for my parents.
Right.
I think it was more difficult for me since I had already established my roots there,
Yeah.
and I liked it. It was a great area. It was houses. It was a good life there. Yeah.
For sure, man. And again, the reason why I wanted you to come here was for you to kind of share your story, and I'm just gonna jump straight into it. You would you say that you were part, or I guess affiliated with a gang when?
Yeah.
Uh huh.
hmm
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I got put in. I got I'll refer to it as my neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
just since that's kind of what most Hispanic gangs go by. They typically go by barrio, such and such,
Mm-hmm.
and just because it's more, I guess it's a little bit different than a gang. It's kind of more of the neighborhood,
Okay.
and it has like somewhat of a different feeling to it, different things to it than I think just the regular gang. But yeah, I got jumped into my neighborhood when I was 12.
Oh, no
I
way.
was 12 years
Wow.
old, so I was probably like one of the youngest to ever get jumped into my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I started moving back to the neighborhood after we lost a house in Riverside.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of put me at a I don't know who to hang out with type of situation.
Right. Right.
And well, I mean, if you're surrounded by gang members or you're surrounded by people that kind of look up to them, then that's kind of the only. I mean, there's more ways that you could go about life, but there's a high probability of going that way. And so one night, I got jumped into my neighborhood.
And is this I I guess well, you were saying that those are the people that you were affiliated with. You were kind of looking up to.
hmm
Um, were were you afraid of being in there in those because in my experience, and I don't know about yours,
Mhm.
Eddie.
hmm
You know, we me and you come from the same neighborhood, and my partner here, Eddie, he comes from a neighborhood like that as well, where there's a lot of violence and everything. And for me, not only did my parents tell me not to, I guess, hang out with those crowds, but myself, like in my own personal feeling, like I was afraid of it. Like I was afraid of getting into that life. And I guess just my question will be, were you not afraid of that, or how were you thinking back then?
Um,
As
I
a as a
wasn't
as a 12 as a
afraid
12-year-old, yeah.
as I wasn't afraid because the older gang members that I hung around with
Mhm.
were at the moment were like with the business. So I always knew that these people were like about it and that I was with the right people
Mhm.
in case of any situations were to happen.
Right.
There was a lot more weapons at that time
Mhm.
that I remember growing up.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I was never afraid of for my life, and I had heard about some of the things that some of my peers had done, so I was kind of more confident in the situation.
For sure.
Let me just ask you this: coming from a Latino household, I mean,
Mhm.
how would you kind of like, escape home? I mean, because knowing me, I have strict parents. That's why I was just
Mhm.
curious.
So what kind of happened was that because my apartment was small, like there wasn't many places where I could be at while at home, which is one of the reasons why I think I got driven towards that life.
Okay.
Like we lived in a 2 bedroom apartment, we rented one room, and
Oh,
then
for
the
sure.
bedroom was kind of for my parents and for my siblings. So I slept in the living room, and like, where am I gonna do my homework there when my
Mhm.
mom is cooking and
Right.
my siblings are playing in the living room,
Right,
and
right,
like
right.
maybe my dad's in the only room that we have. like there wasn't really an option. It was like at in that moment, I was more like driven out of my house
Right.
and into that.
For sure. And it makes sense too, like as again, I lived the same type of situation when you where you start hanging out with those people, and those people become your friends, and you want to keep involving with yourself with them, and regardless of what type of lifestyle they're living, you want to be part of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that I mean it was more like that was the only option. Um, before I moved to back into that neighborhood, I didn't really affiliate with gang members over there in Riverside, even though there
Mm-hmm.
was gang members
Mm-hmm.
around me. I didn't like them,
Right.
and yeah, the only difference was that once I moved back, that was kind of like the only option.
For sure. How going through that, what were some things that you had to do in order to be part of this gang?
Um, I guess just kind of be willing to do whatever the situation came across.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, shooting at people was kind of like expected,
Mm-hmm.
but I think since I was so young at that time that it wasn't really expected so much of me. I was just kind of like being shown the ropes,
Uh-huh.
kind of like looking out for other kids my age that might be claiming a different neighborhood, even if it was just to mess around, even if it was just a joke.
Mm-hmm.
My job was kind of like to regulate that and squash that ASAP. Like I would do like a lot of tagging, I guess. I mean, that's kind of easy to do,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of easier for a kid. As I got a little bit older, I think, I mean, it wasn't required of me, but I would just like to steal
Mm-hmm.
and, break into cars, stuff like that. And
So as you
it
got
was just
older,
easy.
there were more requirements for you.
Um, it wasn't ever asked of me to do like that stealing stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but I guess like more other things would like things that were kind of required were like just kind of being on the street and like looking out for enemy neighborhoods that are coming through, so we
Mm-hmm.
could like chase them out, get in a fight with them, like smash their windows or do anything like that. Just
Mm-hmm.
kind of patrolling the neighborhood would be, I guess, one requirement.
Right.
Oh, okay. So,
Mm-hmm.
how would I mean? So you're going through all this, right? And like, was school ever in your mind, like to pursue higher education at that age, or were you just like not really thinking about it?
Not really. I I didn't have anybody around me that I mean, being the firstborn of a first generation immigrant family,
Mm-hmm.
you don't really see a lot of people like that.
Oh.
You don't
Right.
really, I mean, I honestly don't even know like a whole lot to this day, like people that graduated and have like these types of things. So it's not that I didn't want to; it's just I didn't even know about it, to be frank.
Right.
And then how did that work with like your school schedule? Being in like your neighborhood and stuff like that. Like, would they ever like call you up like during class?
No, I mean, I've had once I got kicked out of middle school and I went to a different one.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of homies from a different neighborhood that we got along with, and they would they would hit me up to ditch, but it wasn't it wasn't too much of a. It was more me, kind of like not really paying attention in school and not really caring about it. But they would ask me to ditch a few times, but I didn't really think it was worth it, so I just kind of stayed in.
Oh, okay.
Did your parents ever talk to you regarding the situation you were put in or anything like that?
Yeah, but it was mainly when it came to drugs or alcohol. They didn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Being in the neighborhood was kind of like, well, fuck, like we kind of live here. Like, what are we supposed to do about it? Like, he's
Mm-hmm.
surrounded by gang members. Like, it's obvious that that's
Yeah.
what he's gonna join. But yeah, I mean, they try to take like some of my baggy clothes away. But I mean, there wasn't really much you could do. You know, a
How,
few talks here and there, but
Also, you said they try to
Not a
take
lot.
your baggy clothes away.
Yeah, they try to take my baggy clothes away because I would just go to school like that. I just kind of always try to like throw that out there, like who
For
I
sure,
am and such and such.
for sure.
Hmm.
So, it, like again, I'm just curious to know about your life and stuff like that. And it's not like like I'm judging you in a kind of way. But did you do high school here, or high school where you're currently at now?
I did high school. I did part of. I alongside with Anthony. But the thing was that, like in my freshman year, I was like 3 months, no, probably less, like 2 months in, and I ended up getting shot in my neighborhood.
Okay.
And then after that, my dad went to jail around like around December, and then my mom ended up getting deported. So that there goes my freshman year, bonk. And my sophomore year, I was kind of like, we were trying to come back from Mexico, and I was working a lot with my dad, like after he got out, and yeah, freshman year was just kind of like trying to rebuild a stable foundation for my family and for me to like be able to even go to school.
Uh huh.
And then junior and senior year, I thankfully I did attend regular high school. I didn't graduate from a regular high school. I didn't graduate from
Mm-hmm.
the high school me and Anthony went to, just because I was missing a few credits. I had the opportunity to go to like a continuation school, or like during those years, to make up my credits.
Uh huh.
But at that time, my mind had already shifted to where I was like dead focused on school. But by the time that my junior year came around, where I kind of evaluated the situation where like that continuation school is full of mess ups, people like me, that if I go there, I'm just gonna end up getting in fights. And I thought it was better just to stay in that regular high school.
Mhm.
And even though I don't graduate, just kind of perfect my craft and perfect me being a student.
Mm-hmm.
And I did pretty well. I ended up honor roll a semester or two, and then I got a few other awards for just my performance, which is kind of weird, but yeah.
Oh, nice.
So let me backtrack to because it seems like your freshman year was like a big hit for you. Um, how how did that affect your life in such way? Like you mentioned, being shot and your dad being in jail and your mom being deported. How did that I guess I would say how did that make you feel in the moment?
Well, how about we, like, how about you? I think that could be like the broader question. Like,
Okay.
I guess the way I would start that is, what was going on then? I guess that when during the day that you got shot, like what happened? What led to it? I guess.
Yeah.
So it was my siblings, one of my younger siblings' birthday party,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just another regular day. Nothing too bad. I thought it was going to be a really good day.
This is your brother, you said?
Oh, I'll just leave it at sibling.
A sibling? All right, my
Mhm.
bad. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
a younger sibling.
For sure, for sure.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was her it was the party, and we were hanging out, but I had ended up, there was another party at my homeboy's house,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody was there, and that was on another street over. So we were just hanging out most of the day, and then just kind of planning on going back to my place later that night. And on the it got late. It was like around like closer to 10 o'clock, maybe a little bit less.
Mm-hmm.
But we were on the way back to my place where the other party was at.
Your party,
Yeah,
right?
and we stopped on the way near this. I guess I'll just call it park,
Mm-hmm.
and we were there because we were waiting for one of my mother homeboys to come through so we could head over to my house. And then what ended up happening was that we were just hanging out, and then out of the corner of a building, this guy comes out, and he's over here asking who's from this neighborhood, which was my neighborhood, my gang.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I was already we had already been drinking just because it was such a like festive day. Everything was going good, you know. We had a house to ourselves at my homie's house, and then we had a party at my house, so it was a good day.
Right.
So I had been drinking, and the first thing I thought when I seen this guy coming and asking like who we are, I thought we were just gonna. I felt sorry for him. I thought we were just gonna beat the hell out of him because there was a lot of us there.
Right.
But the thing was that I was the only one from my neighborhood there. Everybody else was nobody had been jumped in, except my other homeboy that we were waiting for, but he wasn't there.
Right.
And he comes through, and I'm like, damn, we're gonna beat this guy up. But he pulls out a gun, and I'm like, damn. Like once I seen the gun, I was like, damn, that's it.
Yeah.
I started running,
Uh-huh.
and he hits me once, like really good, and in my upper back.
Uh-huh.
And then he hits me again in my lower back, and then I'm still kind of like running away. But the thing is that place where I was at, it was kind of a dead end. It was surrounded by gates, but
For
like
sure.
fence gates.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, damn, like, well, I don't really have a lot of places to go, and I'm kind of drunk, so like I don't know what to do.
And you just got shot?
Yeah. He shot like around 5 times.
Uh-huh.
The last one, I kind of turned around to see if he was still shooting, and he ends up getting me like in my rib cage.
Uh-huh.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and once he's seen that, one of my other friends that was there, he tries getting close to him so he can knock him out, but he ends up tripping. And then once that happens, like he notices it. He noticed that he tried to go at him,
Uh-huh.
and he points the gun to his head, and he's like, "Oh, like what's up? Like where are you from? Are you from here?" And he's like, and he was telling the truth. He wasn't from the neighborhood, but you know he did kind of try to back me up at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Damn, bro.
So, my next question is, like, did you get transported to the hospital right away, or?
Yeah, I called 911 because
Oh, you called them.
Well, yeah, I called 911. I was like, damn, like, I was kind of drunk, and I was like, hey, I got shot. Like, send somebody. And then she started rambling on like they do, and they're trying to do that. They're trying to keep you on the phone, but I didn't have time for that. I clicked on her, and then my homeboys went to my house where the party was at, and they let my parents know, hey, you know, so and so just got shot. And my parents came real quick in the car. They put me in the back. One of my homeboys, I'll shout him out. Shadow, he picked me up and he put me in the back of my parents' car,
Mm-hmm.
and he went with my parents all the way to the hospital.
Right.
And then yeah, on the way there, I was just kind of like, they're just trying to keep me awake, and yeah, I got transported to the hospital. It was a local one there, but they weren't a trauma center. So from there, they kind of just stabilized me to a degree, and then they transferred me to a different hospital where I went surgery.
Mm-hmm.
I had surgery and say ICU unit.
Oh wow.
Damn it, dude, my back hurts. Just when you're talking about that, just I don't know why it starts hurting. And but my question would be is like what were you thinking, bro? Like what were you thinking when that happened? Like or first of all, let me ask you this: what did you feel the pain, or was the adrenaline too like flowing through your body that you didn't even feel anything?
No, you feel the pain.
For
Once
sure.
you get shot, you feel it. It's
For sure.
It feels like knives exploding inside of you. Would be a way I could describe it.
Wow.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, and
But
sorry, go ahead.
yeah, that was the first one. I guess the other ones I didn't feel as much,
Mm.
but the first one for sure.
Right. And again, what were you thinking, bro? Like, what was going through your mind?
I honestly thought I was dead right there. The only reason I don't think I died was because his gun jammed.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
his gun ended up jamming, and that's.
So you think if he had gotten the next shot, you would have been gone for sure?
I don't think the next shot, but I think I was just trapped and I was just like, there's nowhere to go. Where he could have kept on shooting
Mm-hmm.
at close range to where I wouldn't have been here.
Damn.
Yeah, but it's weird, the gun jammed, which is kind of weird, and he was too fucking stupid, or too stupid to know how to jam the damn gun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Damn, bro. And I guess in this type of scenarios is when one starts to, I guess, kind of look at God, for as an answer, I guess. Is that something?
Well, yeah. Let me just ask: were you religious or are religious at all?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah.
I wouldn't say so much. I mean, I believe in it,
Uh-huh.
but I've gone to church a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but I just kind of keep not so much religion, but like I guess I'm more like kind of go with the flow type of person when it comes to like religion or spirituality.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think God is in one religion. I just
Right. Right.
But
Right.
yeah, I do believe in him, and I pray to it, even though I don't go to church or I don't go to church anymore just because I'm busy. But
Right.
to a degree,
Yeah.
But at the moment, no. At the moment, I just thought I was dead. Like
For
fucking, like that's it.
Damn, bro. For sure.
Yeah.
And then you said that your dad went to jail, and how long was he in jail for?
It was thankfully he was only there for the first time he went to jail. He was only there one time, 1 year.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and that's because he actually shot somebody too.
Oh, for sure. So was he
Yeah.
was he part of the gang as well,
No, my dad.
or self defense, or?
No, somebody had stolen from him.
Oh, for sure.
One of his close friends, and he had stolen from him when he let the guy move into his apartment because he didn't have anywhere to go. So he let him move in, and he ended up stealing from him. And it was just kind of like a payback for that, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what ended up happening. He ended up getting pulled over picking up some old furniture,
Mm-hmm.
like in a gated community,
Mm-hmm.
and they looked up his record, and that's where they found the arrest warrant. But
For sure.
he eluded it for like 10 years. So
For sure.
it happened when I was younger. So yeah.
For sure. So then he went to jail. He's out,
Mhm.
and then you said he has a couple of businesses, right?
Yeah.
So then
Yeah.
he starts working again, and you got shot. At that.
No, so I got shot first, and then he went to jail.
Oh, then he went to jail.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So how long did it take you to recover?
It took me like about 2 months. 2 months. The first time, I don't recall too much how long it was. I'll just say like a month,
Mm-hmm.
maybe less, maybe 3 weeks, to recover from the surgery and be able to walk again. Just because my whole abdomen had been cut open.
Right.
I couldn't walk. I couldn't. I could barely do anything, and I was only 14 at that time, so
Yeah.
it was kind of difficult. That was the first time I was at the hospital. But then I went home for like a few days. Then I came right back just because since when I got shot in my lower back, it pierced my kidney, and some of the blood from there was leaking or something like that.
Right.
And I ended up getting an infection.
Oh, for sure.
And so I had to go back for that and then just get put on IV antibiotics.
For sure. So, what I guess after all of that happened, your dad, your siblings are all reunited once again. What was the conversation like?
My parents did not want to go back to the States. They kind of wanted to stay over there in Mexico where it was nice and calm.
Mm-hmm.
No, nothing was worrisome. It was lax over there, but I wasn't gonna waste away over there. I kind of felt like there's nothing here for me. Like, and during that time when I was there, I would see other people that were somewhat affiliated in the neighborhood, but never got jumped in.
Mm-hmm.
I would see them, and I would see like the things that they're doing, like, oh, this guy joined football, or this guy did this guy's like doing this type of thing. They're taking these classes, and I was kind of jealous of it. I was like, damn, like I wish I could do something like that.
Right.
But in my mind, like I would even tell myself this, like I already sold my soul.
Mm-hmm.
Like I already sold my soul to the neighborhood, and my life belongs to the neighborhood, and I
Mm-hmm.
have to like live and die for it and constantly progress. So I don't even have a I don't even have a that's not even a decision. Like my life is to the neighborhood, and that's it.
And but that was your mentality back then.
Yeah, at that point. But I think that jealousy, that kind of like looking around that other people were doing other things, kind of started a seed
Right.
of
Right. Right.
things I
Right.
wanted to do.
Right. 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 Yeah, I was gonna ask you what started, I guess, the process of you, I guess, getting out of that lifestyle. Yeah.
Um, I would say that would be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say the true thing that kind of broke my mind out of that was living in Mexico.
Oh, for sure. Just seeing how you had no opportunity of doing anything back there, right?
Not so much. I think the perception that we were given at the moment in the United States
Uh huh.
of Mexicans and like Mexican Americans was that they're all cholos, and that this is the only way to live by,
For sure.
and such,
Mm-hmm.
and that's who we are. Well, once I went to Mexico, I kind of noticed that I was kind of the outcast. Like nobody dressed like with baggy clothes, nobody dressed bald. It was kind of looked down upon.
Right.
And I spent enough time there where my values started to change in that way as well.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was like, yeah, why am I kind of dressing like this? You know, why am I why am I doing all this stuff?
You know.
And I think at that time, if I would have moved back to a different area or a different location, other than the neighborhood where I had gone jumped into, I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have continued my activities. That's how profound the effect was. When we were in Mexico, we also lived pretty good. We went to resorts. We went to all kinds of places wherever we lived like how a privileged American would live,
Right.
and
Right.
that's kind of what changed my mentality. Being able to have the life that normal Americans have, but in Mexico,
Right.
and
Right.
it opened my mind to other possibilities. That was the true beginning of my change.
Right. Right. Yeah. Now that you mentioned that too, when I was in Mexico, I never saw anyone dress up like that. You know, with the baggy pants, the baggy shirts, um, ball haircuts, and everything. So like,
Yeah,
yeah, it makes sense, I guess. Did you feel like people were judging you when you were over there?
yeah, a little bit. But at first, yeah, but after I kind of learned the lingo, and I had a great time over there. I loved it. Yeah. And I also got to blame like movies and all this other crap that they kind of shoved down our throats, like the freaking American Me and Blood In Blood Out, and
Right.
like just like the gangster music that kind of, you know, I mean, it's kind of a result of like all the policies that the U.S. has kind of put. I mean, kind of. I mean, the beginning of gangs are kind of like, or at least Hispanic gangs are kind of like out of East LA,
Mm-hmm.
and most of those people were kind of forced to live there, which kind of created it. And yeah, I just think at the time American culture somewhat pointed us to that direction,
Mm-hmm.
but then again, that might have just been my perception.
So when was it when you came back to the States and you decided to, kind of like get back on the high horse and continue on just despite of everything that happened your freshman year?
So we had come back at the end of my sophomore year,
Mm-hmm.
and we were dead broke. We had nothing. Like when we came back, at first it was me and my father, and we stayed with his cousin, which rented a room in an apartment. So at that time, it was me, my father, his cousin, and his two stepsons,
Mm-hmm.
all in one room. A really small room, honestly. It was a really small room, probably the smallest room of the apartments that I lived in,
Right.
and we lived there with them. But then what also happened was that in the living room was some random guy that rented the living room, and another one of my homeboys that lived there because he was related to the guy that actually rented the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So two in the living room, five in one room, and then four in another room, which was the guy that owned or rented the apartment, his wife, his little child, and then his stepson. So that's when we first came back, and we were kind of living closer to my enemy's neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that was my reintroduction to America after my mom had been deported. My dad also had been deported after being in jail, and I had like my body pretty much in a pretty bad condition, just post surgery, and then just kind of like all the terrible eating habits, like all the alcohol and all that other drugs and stuff like that.
Right.
So everything was a mess.
Right.
Yeah, that was my introduction, and yeah, that's when I started hanging out with my homeboy that also stayed there, and we would walk to our neighborhood, kind of trying to cross like across the other enemy's neighborhood, and if we trying to find somebody, maybe we could jump them, or something. We could like start tagging around that area, letting them know, and yeah, with that entire time I was there, we were just kind of running amok. We were just posting up, going to other enemies' neighborhood, drinking, just living like a gang member.
This was after the surgery and everything?
Yeah, this was after the surgery, after my dad had got locked up, and after my mom had been deported.
Mm.
This is
Right.
when we came back, and it was five of us in a little room.
So
Yeah.
so you were in a bad place in your life. All these things that
Terrible.
just happened. You said you started working, right?
Yeah, I did started working because my dad seen that I was messing around too much with my homeboy, and that was another time that like really changed my perception, because like my living situation was crap,
Mm-hmm.
and like some of my homeboys' living situation was also crap, but it wasn't that much of crap.
Right.
And I was like, when I started working because I had to pay, because we had to pay for an apartment because my sisters were coming, and when they came, it was going to be seven of us in a room, in a small little room.
Yeah.
So that wasn't going to happen. So we had to get our own place. So I was working towards that with my father because he didn't have anybody to help him. So I was working towards that, and I was working also towards like bringing my mother over here.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had to pay the fucking or the
Coyote.
person that crosses them, and then we also had to pay the mafia there, which was like around Juarez, so that they wouldn't kidnap them because they asked for money at first, so nothing can happen to them.
Right.
And so I'm over here working like all day
Mm-hmm.
for my siblings, for my family,
Right.
with my dad, like seeing how he's breaking his back too, and kind of like always in the back of my mind, kind of like worrying like, is my mom even gonna be able to make it over here? Like,
Right.
is something gonna happen to her? And just kind of that whole situation just made me mature so much. And kind of
Yeah.
have a respect and appreciation for my family.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
I didn't really see a lot of my other homeboys like in that situation. They were kind of like, they weren't super great, but they weren't exactly in that situation. I was kind of like, well, you're asking me to do this, but post up all day in the neighborhood. But dude, I got some man shit that I gotta take care of for my family.
Right. Right. Family first, right?
Yeah, another good situation there was kind of like, I was also broke at that time that I didn't have I didn't have money for shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad would work painting apartments, and we found a pair of red and black Vans laying around that were my size, and we're like, perfect, like we found these, like they're shoes for me, but like being from Southern California, wearing red is not really accepted.
Oh yeah.
So like I was posting up in my neighborhood with those shoes, and one of my homeboys like, hey, why do you have those shoes?
Mm-hmm.
And like I just told them straight up, I was like, do you have money to pay for my shoes? Because I don't have money for shoes, dog. Just because you don't fucking like this fucking color, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't got time for that baby shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I gotta all the money that I'm going to is going towards my family.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just like one of the moments I kind of like like you kind of grow out of it. You're like, what the fuck? Like, why am I? This guy does not have anything to worry about. Like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah, that's
he's
right.
worrying about shoe colors. Like, boy, like, I don't have time for that little kid stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, but yeah, that's how working and being poor kind of changed my perception.
Yeah, I guess seeing the broader picture, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And did you ever come across any of your former friends that were part of the gang? I mean, seeing you starting to work, maybe not hang out as much with them. Did any of them try to reach out to you and tell you like, what's up, um,
Mm,
come through or anything like that? Or
I don't think so. Just because at such a young age, I was kind of like already like pretty pretty involved for being so young. That
Mhm.
they weren't really. They never. I don't think they ever really doubted me. I was just kind of. I never really got kind of like told. I just told them like what was going on, and they were cool about it. Yeah. But
Oh,
then
that's good.
again, like the more time that you do spend there, the more respect you command. The more things that you do, the more respect you command. So even though like I wasn't losing respect, I wasn't gaining it at that moment where other people were.
For sure, for sure.
But yeah, I never got any pushback from my friends or
Well,
homeboys.
not even pushback. Maybe I was thinking maybe just people reaching out to you, asking how you're doing. Like after, I mean, especially after you got shot, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I guess I'm just asking, do they still care for you even though you're not part of like the gang? I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. I would say so. Yeah, I would say a lot. I would say pretty much almost everybody from my neighborhood still shows me love.
Oh,
I
for
still
sure.
talk to a few of them. Yeah, I still talk to a few of them. They're cool. They grew up too. That's how it is. You grow up and you have shit to handle like a man, and you gotta handle it. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, and I that's true, bro. Like, I guess as a kid, you just don't know, you don't know what's going on. You don't know anything. You
Hmm.
don't know. You have this little you have no regards towards your life, I guess. That's why that's I guess that's how I mean that's how gangs get started. Just it's just a bunch of kids that want to belong to gangs and want to be part of something, and they just get directed towards whatever is out there, and what, like you said, once you started growing up, working and actually making your own money and seeing how hard life is actually, like how hard actually is, you know,
Yeah,
yeah, you start growing out of it.
yeah. Like I said, I think that summer working and kind of that moment when I told my homeboy that I don't have money for shoes, kind of really made me grow out and really just kind of not look down on my homeboys, but kind of like
You wanted
I
more.
guess y- I just kind of viewed them as kids at that time. Like even
Yeah,
though there were some of them were older than me, I'm like, what are you worrying about this bullshit?
yeah, that's
Like
true.
that's like I'm young, but I'm working like 12 hours a day, like some hard labor job, carrying this big buckets of paints at like 130 pounds at the time. Like I got some real things to worry about. You're worrying about shoes though.
Yeah, that's true,
Man.
man.
So let me ask you this: Are you still part of? Well, like not heavily influenced, but like, are you still part of that, or not really?
Um, I had been called back for a task that I had to do,
Mm-hmm.
which wasn't anything violent, but it was just like they just need somebody with a little bit of brains to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing that for a little bit, and just out of respect, just out of kind of like, they need a little bit of help with this, and nothing bad was really going to come out of it. I mean, it was maybe being around some sharks, but I
Mhm.
wasn't going to get in trouble for it, like with the law or anything. It wasn't really going to jeopardize my standing or like my
Oh, for
life.
sure, for sure.
So I went back for that for a little bit, but I recently got into like an argument with one of the guys there, uh,
Mm-hmm.
somebody in the neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, just because I didn't like how things were being run, and when I went back for that brief period, I seen some things that I didn't like, and I kind of bit my tongue up for a minute, but I was just kind of over it. and then I just kind of called him out on it. And after that, I really haven't been involved so much.
Okay. So,
I mean, I still talk to him a few times.
okay, yeah, yeah, because
Right.
that's what I was about to ask. Like, do you still keep in contact with like some of your homies?
Yeah, a good amount actually. Just just like more mature, more grown up. A lot of them have kids, so
For sure, for sure. So, what are some, I guess, out of like now that you're, I guess we're at a point in your life where you're out of that um, chapter in your life, and you're looking to do something with your life. What are some new hobbies that you picked up along the way?
I think as you know, I like to go to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
That was a that was a hobby I picked up. There's a few things that could go into that, and I think a lot of people would benefit from knowing what happened, like how I got into it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first would be like after my surgery, like my body was pretty much destroyed, and
Mm-hmm.
at such a young age, at 14, like it's kind of it's hard on the mind to see yourself like that with tubes coming out of you, with scars, with bullets, and I still have a bullet inside of me. So that was just like so. It was torturous to me. Like it was a torment seeing myself in the mirror like that.
Yeah.
And when I see myself like after my surgery, I was like, no, like I need to build myself up from
Yeah.
this really terrible spot. That was one of the reasons. Another one of the reasons was like once I started to like stop once I stopped doing that type of stuff, and once I called outs and stuff, I was looking for things to do after school
Mm-hmm.
because I knew if I didn't have anything else to do after school, the homeboys are always there. The
Yeah.
enemies are always cruising by.
Yeah.
War is always around me to
Right.
where it's so easy to go back to it. So the second reason was that I needed something to do after school, and then the third reason was kind of like I would look back at like some of the older gangsters, like from like the '90s and the '80s and such and such. A lot of these dudes had muscles, so like
Oh,
even
for
then,
sure.
like if you really want to be like a gang member, like you gotta work out. You can't be like
You gotta look
no
tough.
punk. Yeah, you gotta look tough. You can't be over there freaking wimpy and shit. So, yeah, it's like
True.
those are
True.
some of the reasons why that I did. Other activities that I do. I guess now moving to Colorado, I do a lot of hiking.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Um, yeah, I do a lot of hiking. I think that's a great activity for people that really just want to see the world and open their minds to different things.
Right. Right. Clear their mind. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think other than that, just studying. That's all I've been doing.
So let's fast forward to your present life now. What are some changes that you've done to yourself, as to educationally or physically to yourself?
Good question.
um, for sure. I mean, I guess um, a lot of it kind of revolves around my early childhood. I guess the life that I led somewhat shaped me
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of the things I do now, when it comes to education or like extracurriculars, whether it's working out or anything like that, revolves around that. My educational situation right now is that I'm about to get my bachelor's in nursing, my BSN.
Nice.
That's in December. I kind of got into nursing and healthcare just because it's just useful. There's a lot of like advantages to it. Like you're always gonna have a job. The work schedule's pretty cool. You work 3 12-hour shifts. You get the rest of the days off. You get paid pretty good. There's room for advancement, and just kind of like once I woke up from my surgery, like after I got a shot,
Mm-hmm.
the only people I really seen was healthcare professionals, and honestly, at that time, I was kind of like, if I don't do anything different, like like if I don't grab onto anything absolutely different from what I'm doing now, I'm gonna end up dead or in jail. And at that time, the only thing that was around me was that the nurse that was coming in to like wipe my lips with a moist moist cloth, and I was like, screw it, this will do. This is good enough for me. I'll take it just as long, But even though I didn't make a change, I just thought that was a good idea to do. Another thing but that's my educational career.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also I accepted into the Navy as an officer, as a Naval Corps officer.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, like upon graduation, I already have my a job set, living situation, food situation, everything pretty much good. So probably in February I'll head out to Officer Development School, which is like a boot camp.
If you don't mind me asking, what's gonna be your rank going into it?
I think it's like a second lieutenant.
Okay.
So as an officer, you go in like way above like enlisted.
Hmm.
So those are two types of things. Like enlisted is just like straight out of high school,
Yeah.
and officers is more like straight out of college, straight out of university.
Yeah, I was in ROTC.
I was gonna
I was
say,
in
yeah,
ROTC too, so I kind of
He knows about this. Stuff.
yeah, I know a little bit about what the Navy is. So,
Yeah, but
but
that's
congrats, dude. Honestly, congrats.
Yeah, those are two things. Yeah, because I tend to stay busy. But let me just kind of say like other things that I guess got going on. But
Mm-hmm.
a good explanation for the Navy is kind of like that kind of ties back into my early childhood was that kind of like that same military thing is very similar to being in a neighborhood or in a gang.
Yeah,
Because
true.
you have your troops, you have your uniforms, you know how to dress, bald head,
The
such
brotherhood.
and such. Same thing with the military. You know,
Yeah.
you have orders, you have tasks, you have that structure.
Right.
And
Right.
It's nothing too different. And if I'm gonna be like a RN in the battlefield, I don't see it any different as being I do see the difference, but there's some similarities to being a gang member in the neighborhood in the battlefield also.
Yeah. It's like you said. It's a battlefield. It's kind of the
Yeah,
same.
so those are those. Any other things I'm doing? I applied for my MBA at Boston University, but I don't know when I'm going to do that. I'm trying to get another degree in finance again, like the MBA or something else,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and then hopefully start like some type of investment company. I work out, so I'm like progressively. Once I get out of school, I'll have more time and get into bodybuilding. And then once I kind of accomplish my goals there, I'll go from there to calisthenics or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And those are kind of like my two.
Your goals.
Physical.
Goals for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's cool. That's crazy. I think it's very, very inspirational that, regardless of the things that you went through, you still had the motivation to change your lifestyle and just make a 180 degree, like you're a complete different person now.
Yeah. It's weird because like even though I am a different person, I'm still kind of like the same. It's just like in a different format. Kind of like going back to like the Navy analogy. Like it's still the battlefield and it's still
Right. But I mean, it's a completely like
different direction.
Yeah, it's different direction. Yeah, of course, it's different. It's
Yeah.
not the same.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of like a tip I would give to anybody that would be one of the tips I could give to anybody that's in that life. You can still remain within the same disciplines of what that gangbanging has, which is like firearms. I mean, here we could own guns, so if you're into guns, you could do it professionally. You could do it right. If you're into fighting, you can join a gym and you could join a martial arts.
Right.
If you're into like a battlefield, then you could go into the special forces or something like that. So there's other ways where you can still fulfill your goals that are actually productive.
So, what other options are out there besides, being part of the neighborhood?
I think for sure the first option that needs to be addressed is money. You definitely need to work on your education, try to get something that will allow you to pursue the other options that exist. So even if it's not going to college, you can still get like a good union job as an electrician or like some other type of trade. So you could definitely, instead of like going and gangbanging, like look into some type of apprenticeship or some type of thing like that, so that by the time that you do graduate high school, you already have a good job going on. Another thing is like if you're not dating high school, like you could take college classes so that by the time that you reach your senior year, you already have enough credits completed that you can get your bachelor's much more easier and start making some real money. Uh, the money's definitely not in the neighborhood or being from the gang or whatever. Like that's definitely not where the money's at. Like, is there people that do make a good amount of money there? Yes, but it doesn't last long. I've seen plenty of drug dealers that have gone down that don't make it. So that's another option that you could do. Like I said earlier, you could get into sports. Like sports, I guess, is something that's really looked up upon in this country. You want to like you could get girls, you could get all types of things you could become popular with sports, which is way better than being in the neighborhood. Um, you could explore the world. Hiking is something I like to do. You can always do that. Take the bus if you need to. Um, yeah, there's martial arts. You can get into that. There's there's guns. I know a lot of. I mean, gangbang kind of revolves around a gun, so you could do that legally, and get some real big guns. Learn how to shoot, learn how to do this. There's a whole different. There's so many opportunities out there. I think now with the internet, you could definitely look up anything you want, and you could get into it. I didn't have anybody to help me hike. I got into that myself. Same thing with bodybuilding. You look videos up on the internet, and boom, it's there. So the opportunities are definitely there. But yeah, I just want like people that do decide to leave that life or decide not to join it to really go beyond that and look into different things, because I see many like old gang members that are no longer active or decided to get out, and they're like hamsters on a wheel. They keep on revolving around them. Like there's some YouTube channels of some ex gang members, and the only content they could really put out is things revolving around gangs, and they're just like hamsters revolving around that life that they once had. Like no, you have to like break out of that cycle and actually explore something else, because the last thing you want to do is be some ex gang member, that decides to like get pregnant the first homegirl they sees and settle down for some dead end job. Like that's a loser ass life, and I don't respect that whatsoever.
Right.
And I don't respect anybody that does. So maintain your high standards just as you were like in the neighborhood. In the neighborhood, you're also expected to like put in work and like be somebody. Be somebody with money, with guns, or something like that. So your expectations should remain high, even if it's not in that realm. So definitely don't settle. Definitely you could still be a badass without being from some gang. So definitely look beyond those lame ass ex gang members that you see on TV that only tell you what not to do, but have no idea on what to do. Because if a child does not have any other options than what's given to them, they're gonna do it. But definitely look beyond what is given to you through the internet, and just have courage and be like your parents that they explored different countries or like different things without any guidance. Be that pioneer.
Right. Well, man, we're gonna wrap this up. Is there anything, any other last words that you want to tell somebody again that might be in your position?
Yeah, so kind of let me go ahead and rephrase. Well, for our young listeners or for listeners that feel that they're against the ropes, what's a piece of advice that you'd share with them right now?
Or for any parents that might have a kid that's going through the same situation as you, like what would you say to people like them?
For a parent, I would be very judgmental, honestly. I would be like, how could you allow yourself as a parent to raise a child in such a terrible environment where you're surrounded by gangs? I think that's like something that needs to be said.
Mm-hmm.
Like even though like you don't mean to it, like what do you expect? What do you seriously expect? If you raise a child around cops, he's going to be a cop. If you raise a child around gang members, they're going to be a gang member. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if you really want a difference in your child, you got to put in the work. You got to pay for those classes to the gym. You got to pay for something else. You know what I mean? You got to move out of that area, which would
Right.
probably be the biggest difference that you could make.
Right.
That would be my biggest. Put in the work if you want to see results as a parent, because they're just children. They don't know what you're doing. You're just following what's around them.
Right. And what about for our young listeners?
I would say that that I have seen from other neighborhoods, like whether it's my neighborhood or any other neighborhood, and even like going all the way to I'll say it, like the prison gangs, like the big prison gangs that run the things. Judge your older homeboys who you're taking orders from, because if you judge them critically, because you're gonna start seeing flaws in them. For example, I read the book Boxer Enriquez, a Mexican mafia member, which is like the top of the food chain where you want to go as a Hispanic gang member in Southern California. And what he said about them was that they're a bunch of heroin addicts. That comes from his book.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes from a different interviews that you could watch online. That that's how it is. You want to judge your homeboys, because you can't be taking orders from no fools. And then I guess another thing would be like, again, you could do everything you want in that realm of gangbanging legally and enjoying your life. You can own guns. You can get into fighting professionally. You can get into special operations if you want to be a soldier. And if you want to make money, there's a lot of billionaires. Like, there's very few billionaires that are like gang members or drug dealers or millionaires or whatever. So obviously the money is not there.
Well, Ed, thank you, man.
Cool.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it for being on the show here.
No problem, man. Anytime. And yeah, man. Thank you for having me.
Oh no, it was definitely a pleasure having you today.
Yeah, bro.
And thank you for honestly sharing your story. I think it takes a lot, honestly.
Yeah, it's been a journey, but we're almost done.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to another Rebuttal Talk episode. Follow us on our Instagram page, Twitter page, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube. Any other words, Eddie?
That's pretty much it. See you guys on the next episode.
Thank you. Bye.
Wait, hold on. You forgot something. What time is it, Anthony?
Giveaway time.
Giveaway time.
Let's go.
So
Okay.
before this episode ends, we want to end it up cheerfully, and we're going to go ahead and raffle off our first place. What do we have first place?
We have a Google Nest.
Google Nest, yes.
Right.
And second and third place,
$15 gift cards
Yes,
for
we do.
Starbucks.
Starbucks. So all you caffeine addicts or tea addicts, brace yourselves. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and try to pull in full volume.
Let me see.
Yeah, we're going to see here. Full volume, and here we go. We're going to do first spin. So brace yourselves.
Uh-oh.
Here we go. Here we go. Wheel spinning. Wheel is spinning. It's stopping. It's stopping.
Uh-oh.
We have our first place, ladies and gentlemen. And Anthony, please reveal our first place winner.
First place winner at G_Rovedo.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Shout out to Gio.
Gio.
Make
Hey,
sure
Gio.
you guys DM us. Gio, DM us.
Yeah, so that we know that you're listening to it.
Okay. And here we go. This is going to be the second one, right?
Place. Yeah, second place.
Second place. Starbucks gift card. Let's go. Spinning, 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 spinning.
Why am I nervous?
I don't know. Oh.
Uh-oh. Congratulations at Papi_Churro43.
Congratulations, bro. Make sure you DM us at the end of while you're listening to this episode. Make sure to DM us at Bravado Talk.
Yes, sir.
And this is going to be the last
but
winner.
not least.
Last but not least. Drum roll. Here we go. This is going to be a good one. Oh! This is winner number 3 at Brian, BRRIAN.C. So make sure you go ahead and DM us at Bravado Talk. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in episode 5. See ya.
Thank you, guys.